Good morning, students. Welcome to the lecture of Operations Research. Let us have a look at the concepts we have studied in the last lecture. In the last lecture, we have started with understanding the solution, nature of solution between primal and dual, rather a relation between the solutions of primal and dual problem. For this, we have drawn the last tables, that is optimal simplex tables of both the primal and dual problem, and this is what a relation we have obtained. That is, for the primal problem, the values of the basic variables are nothing but the net evaluations corresponding to the slack variables of the dual problem, that is slack vectors one can say. Similarly, the values of the basic variable in dual problem are nothing but the values of net evaluations of the slack variable involved in the primal problem. That of the value of objective function in both the primal and dual problem are same. And this is what the rule we have obtained. We have seen how to obtain the solution of one problem if the solution of the other is known to us. Later we have started a new point of this syllabus, that is an integer programming problem. Integer programming problem itself tells us the meaning. That is, we are going to deal with a linear programming problem who has integer valued solution, or which has integer valued solution. The idea or the method, systematic procedure for developing the solution of a linear programming problem to the integer value was introduced by a mathematician R. E. Gomori in 1956. Under this heading, we are going to study two different methods: Gomori's cutting plane method and branch and bound algorithm. Before going to those systematic algorithms, we will try to understand why rounding off is not applicable or useful in case of finding the integer value solution. For this, we have taken a small example with only one constraint. The optimal solution of this problem is like this: x1 is 2, 2 and a half, 2 by 3, x2 is 0, right? That is x1 is having some 2.66 value. If we round off the value of x1 to 3 and if we get the optimal solution, this whatever is rounding off we have written is not a solution because it is not going to satisfy the constraint. Similarly, rounding this value of x1 to the previous integer, one can call it as rounding down. Okay, then the value of objective function is far away from the value of objective function of t. Therefore, rounding up the values of the variables, decision variables, will not always help us to get the integer value solution for the given problem. For this, we have to deal with the problem with a systematic procedure. There are two types of IPP actually. One is all IPP, another is mixed IPP. As the name suggests, in all IPP, values of all decision variables must be integer values. In mixed IPP, values of some of the decision variables are the integer values. We have seen the definitions as well. Then we have seen why Gomori's cutting plane is being introduced. Very simple step. First, we are going to observe, try to solve the problem with the usual simplex method. If the solution obtained is integer, no need to modification. But if it is not integer valued, this LPP requires a modification by introducing a secondary constraint called as Gomori's constraint. Okay. Then solve this modified LPP with a algorithm, whichever is applicable. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to understand how Gomori's constraint is constructed. How to construct Gomori's constraint. How to construct Gomori's constraint. Now, in order to understand this, we are going to start with the optimal simplex table of the given LPP. Optimal simplex table means it will be my last table of the linear programming problem. Is that fine to everyone? Okay. Therefore, let me just start this method. The secondary constraint which will force the solution towards integer value. It will force the solution towards integer point are constructed as follows. Are constructed as follows. Okay. Now let us start with the optimum simplex table. Let optimum non-integer solution to the maximization LPT has been obtained. We have selected with a non-integer, right? Why it is not integer one? Okay. In our usual notation, the solution can be shown by following simplex table, optimal simplex table. Following optimal simplex table. Now I am going to write the optimal simplex table of a general linear programming problem. Okay, that is the last table I want to write. Okay, for this, what is the criteria for the number of variables, number of constraints? How many constraints do we have in the standard form? Number of constraints?
M.
M.
M. Okay. Original variables?
N.
N. Added variables? Added means slack or surplus, whichever is required. M, na? To every constraint we are adding one variable, either slack or surplus. Therefore, how many total variables we have? Is it M plus N?
Yes.
How many basic variables?
M.
M. How many non-basic variables?
N.
N. Good. Now with this, let me write the optimal simplex table of a general linear programming problem. For this, what we were going to we were going to assume is, out of this total m plus n variables, okay, m basic variables are there, non-basic variables are n in number. For the sake of our convenience, we will assume, or we will arrange first m variables to be the basic variables, and remaining m minus n minus whatever n variables are going to be non-basic variables. Okay. Therefore, let me start with basic variables cv xb. Okay. First variable is say x1, second is x2, so on. We were going to write somewhere this ith variable and xm. These are my basic variables. M variables are there in all. M basic variables are in all. We have assumed that these first M are the basic variables, or rather they are arranged in first M basic variables. What are the remaining then? Let me write xm plus 1 to xn. Is that okay? And these are nothing but my non-basic variables. These are my non-basic variables. Okay, let me write basic variables. x1, x1, x2, somewhere it is say xi, and again this is xm. What is the cost of these basic variables?
0.
No, this is CB1. Cost will be 0 for the non-basic variable actually, or those variables which are actually the slack vectors. Let me assume CB1, CB2, correct? Actually, we have written C1, X1 is the what is the coefficient symbol. But here, as we are going to write the cost of the basic variable, we will write it as CB1, CB2. Okay. Some of them may be 0 order. Okay, let me write the values of the basic variables accordingly to be xb1, xb2, xbi, xbm. XB, this capital B stands for the values of the basic variable or cost of the basic variable. B stands for. Now, as this x1 is my first basic variable, what is the column corresponding to x1?
Is A11?
This is first column of identity, no? 1, 0,
Yes, ma'am.
0. Location is A11, no doubt. This location is A11. X2 is second basic variable. This will form the second column of identity matrix. Okay. Similarly, what about this xi? Xi will be the ith variable of the basic. Therefore, ith entry will be 1. This is 0, 0. This is ith entry is 1. And all the rest entries are again 0. What for xm?
Mth
Last
entry will
entry
be
is
1.
1. Good. Okay. Now from this onwards, we were not knowing the entries. Now we will write the entries according to their location. As the location of this variable is 1, 1, what is the location of this variable? This one. First row, what is the number of column? This location is actually a location in first row and m plus 1th column, right? Therefore, what I will do, I will write this entry as x1 comma m plus 1. Okay, as we are writing aij of the formula, this is x1 m plus 1. Okay, what is the second entry? x2 m plus 1, right? Similarly, what is this entry? This is xi m plus 1. And the last one entry is x m plus 1. Now let me write the column entries of the last variable. What is the last variable?
X1n.
X1n.
Okay. Now what we were going to do, what we have assumed here, first m are the basic variable and the remaining are the added variables, and we have arranged the basic variable at the starting of the simplex table. Let me complete the table. Here it is z is equal to cbxb, right? What are the native evaluations corresponding to the basic variables? Is it 0, 0, 0?
Yes, ma'am.
And here net evaluation corresponding to xm plus 1. Let me write delta m plus 1, and here this is delta n. This is what a table. You have to draw all this. You have to draw the table in a systematic manner like this. You have to draw all the lines. I am not going to draw actually. Draw the table neatly and make the nice presentation. Okay. Is it fine to everyone? Okay. Here let me write the variables. XB in this table. In this table, the variables xbi, I equals to 1 to m, represent basic variables, and remaining n minus m non-basic variables. Non-basic variables. Okay. Now what I'm going to write? I'm going to write. I'm going to assume the value of this ith basic variables xi, that is xbi, is not integer. Is not integer value. And suppose we want to convert this non-integer value to integer one. Non-integer value to integer one. For this, first we will write the ith constraint corresponding to this optimal simplex table. How can I write the ith constraint from the optimal table? This xbi is the right hand side value. What about the constraint? Is the constraint will be 0x1, 0x2, 1xi, 0xm, and so on. Let me show you here. Suppose I am writing the table x1, x2, xb column is 3, 2. Suppose these are the entries, okay, of the initial simplex table. This is what our entries we have written from the constraint. Now we are doing exactly reverse process. We were writing constraint by using the table. What is the constraint from this? First constraint, is it 2x1?
2x1 plus x2 less equal 3.
Less equal or equal, whatever we don't know, is equal to 3. But if it is with suppose an added variable x3, then I can write plus x3 is equal to 3. Correct, no? And the second constraint will be x1 plus x2 0x3. Suppose here it is x4 0 1 plus x4 is equal to 2. Right now? That is, we have written the constraint from the table. Same thing we want to do here. We want to write the ith constraint from the table. What will be the constraint? Is it xbi equal to 0x1, 0x2, 0xi, 0xm. This element xim plus 1 into xm plus 1, xin into xm. Is that clear? Okay. Let the ith basic variable xbi possesses non-integer value, possesses a non-integer value which is given by constraint equation. Constraint equation. What is the constraint equation? Let me go to the next page. This is xbi equal to 0x1, 0x2 till this is 1xi plus dot dot 0xm added with, okay, ith row I am selecting 0x1, 0x2, 1xi, 0xm. What is the next entry? xim plus 1 into xm plus 1. xi comma m plus 1 into xm plus 1, and we will just continue this to xin xn. Okay, let me write the simplified form of this constraint. Is it xi plus, all these entries are 0 0, no? Therefore this gives me xi only added with, let me write in the summation form, j equals to m plus 1 to n xij into xj. Is it okay? That is, xi is equal to xbi minus summation j equals to m plus 1 to n xij into xj. That is, here we have written the variable xi equal to some equation, and let me call it as statement number 1. Now what we were going to do, whatever is this xbi and xij values are there. Xij's are the row entries, xbi is the value of our ith basic variable. Okay. Now what we will do, we will separate both the values in terms of integer and fraction. We will write it. Okay. For here I am going to write this xbi is equals to, we will just separate it into a integer and fraction form. Let me write it as ibi plus fbi, where ibi is an integer part of xbi, fbi is the fractional part of the xbi. Similarly, let me write xij as Iij plus Fij. Iij plus Fij. Here I can write where Ibi and Iij are the largest integral parts. Largest integral parts of xbi and xij respectively, such that the values of these integer part ibi must be less equal by xbi, no? Similarly, iij is less equal by xij. Okay. Also, the fractional part lies between 0 to 1. Fractional part lies between 0 to 1. Let me explain you this by taking an example. Suppose this value of this basic variable xi is non-integer. Therefore, let me write this xbi and xij in terms of integer and fraction. Suppose the value of xbi we have is 7.5, right? Now we want to write it in terms of an addition of integer part plus fractional part. How can I write? 7 by 2 is actually 3.5. Therefore, I can write this as 3 plus half. Correct, no? Therefore,
Yes.
what is the IBI part? This is IBI part. And what is FBI part? This is FBI part. Okay. Therefore, surely can I say IBI is less equal by XBI? Here we can observe 3 is strictly less by 3.5, that is 7.5. But when this equality holds, if xbi itself is an integer value, then ibi is equal to xb. Therefore, this is clear, I think. Ibi is less than or equals to xbi. Same holds for iij. Second condition we were imposing that the fractional part always lies between 0 to 1. Fractional part always lies between 0 to 1. Means we are not accepting the negative fractions. We were not accepting the negative fraction. Let us take we have xbi value or some xij value is minus 7 by half. Okay. Then according to this, may I express this as minus 3 and minus half? But if we do so, this FBI part will be negative. That is, fractional part is negative. But we want the fractional part of this term to be between 0 to 1. That is, positive fraction we want. Okay. Therefore, what we were going to write? We were going to write this as a negative integer, say minus 4 plus. What the term should I add or subtract in order to get minus 7.5? Is it half? You may check. Minus
ma'am.
4 into 2, minus 8 plus half is minus 7. Therefore, whatever the negative, if you have any negative entry, we were going to express that negative entry as negative integer plus positive fraction. Though both are correct, but we were accepting this value in order to satisfy this condition that the fractional part of the values lies between 0 to 1. Is the point clear? We were expressing xbi and xij in this format of ibi plus fbi and iij plus fij. Okay. Let me put both the values in equation number 1. Let me call this as 2. Let me put 2 in 1. Put 2 in 1. That will happen if I put 2 value in 1. This is xi equal to xbi. Xbi is ibi plus fbi minus summation j equals to m plus 1 to n. Xij I can write iij plus fij into xj. Correct, no? These values I have kept in 1. Therefore, xi becomes this part. Xi becomes this. Now what we will do? We will separate integer part on one side and fractional parts on another side. Therefore, if I want the value of xi to be integer value, you see what I am saying? If we want xi to be integer value, let us separate this fractional and integer. Let me write the fractional part on one side. Okay, how can I write fractional part on one side? Okay, this is E of bi minus summation E of ij xj multiplying by xj to this summation, and we will separate. Okay, what about the left hand side? All the remaining values we will shift to the left. Therefore, this is xi minus. First value integer I am going to shift. This is minus ibi. Next, this summation also I will shift. Summation j equals to m plus 1 to n iij into xj. Is that okay? I have just separated integer and fractional parts on the separate sides. Okay. Now, if we want xi to be integer value, look at the left hand side. May I say all the terms in this left hand side, for every value of xj to be integer value, this total quantity on the left will be integer value.
Yes, ma'am.
That of what about right hand side? This is the fractional value. But if I want this equality, if I want this to be an equality, this right hand side quantity must also be integer value. Okay, right hand side quantity must also be integer value. I just want to know the relation between the terms now. I just want to know the relation between the terms. Let me write now for all variables xi I equals to 1 to m and xj j equals to m plus 1 to n to be integer value. To be integer value म्हणजे हे सगळे variables integer valued हवे असतील तर. Okay, now for all the values of the integer value, all the variables to be integer valued, the left hand side of above equation, left hand side na? Oh, this is left hand side of the above equation must be integer value, must be integer. Okay, this implies the right hand side. What is the right hand side? Fbi minus summation Fij xj must also be an integer. Must also be an integer. If you have a confusion, let me explain again. Xi integer valued we want. Ibi is already integer. If we take multiplication, this is integer, this is also integer. Everything is integer. If we take the multiplication of two integer values and the sum, subtraction, and whatever the operation we take, it will be going to remain an integer value. Therefore, this right hand side must be an integer value. Okay. Now, what we know the fact about this expression? What we know? Fbi lies between 0 to 1. Fbi lies between 0 to 1. What about this quantity? Fij also lies between 0 to 1 multiplied by the integer value and taking a sum. Therefore, may I say this quantity is greater or equal by 0? Yes or no? This is greater or equal by 0? Integer valued multiplied by a positive fraction. Together it gives me a positive fraction. Sum of positive fractions gives us the negative value. No?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Therefore, this quantity. Now look at this. Fbi lies between 0 to 1. This value is non-negative and we were taking a subtraction. Fbi and summation Fij xj. Therefore, what is the possibility about this subtraction? Is it less than or equals to 0? Non-negative. Sorry, non-positive.
Yes, ma'am.
Right now, this value Fbi lies between 0 to 1. This is non-negative. Therefore, if we subtract a non-negative term from a small positive term which lies between 0 to 1, So surely we are going to get a value, or here I can write one more step. This term is less than or equals to FBI, less than or equals to FBI, and therefore we know FBI is strictly less than by 1, and strictly less than by 1, and positive and integer value is the only possibility of having less than or equals to 0. Let me repeat. FBI is the small positive term, lies between 0 to 1. From this expression, we were subtracting a non-negative quantity. Therefore, this value must be less than or equals to FBI. But already we know FBI is strictly less than by 1. And we want it an integer value. Integer value less than 1. Therefore, what is the only possibility? Less than or equals to 0. Correct? So what is the expression we have obtained? FBI minus summation Fij xj less than or equals to 0. This is the term we have obtained, which must be an integer value, and this was taken to be a Gomorian constraint. हे इंटीजर असेल तरच तुमचं मागचं सगळं इंटीजर असणार आहे ना. Okay, so this is considered to be a Gomorian constraint, but the constraint is in less equal form. The constraint is in less equal form. Whether this point understood or not, no one is responding.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, no? So here we will write since FBI minus summation Fij xj is an integer, then it can be either 0 or negative integer. It can be either 0 or negative integer. Therefore, we can write it by converting this less equal constant to greater equal. How we were not greater equal, equality. To do this, we want a slack variable. Therefore, here let us add the slack variable. What is the statement number 3? Okay. Now 3 becomes, let me add a Gomorian slack variable. Say gi. Ith constraint we have selected, therefore we were using a notation gi, where, or I can write minus FBI is equal to minus summation Fij xj plus gi. Shifting this FBI on the right. Okay, where gi is non-negative Gomorian slack variable. Any difficulty up to this? Constraint we have obtained. How we have obtained a constraint? Assuming, or we have started with assuming all the values of the variables to be integer value. We have started with an assumption to have xi to be integer value. Here I have written now for all the variables xi and xj to be integer value. Xi, xj सगळे integer हवे असतील तर this should be true. Correct ना? So the constant equation we have obtained is of this form: minus sum fbi is equals to minus summation Fij xj plus gi, where gi is the non-negative Gomorian slack variable. If we look at this constraint, the right-hand side value is negative. The right-hand side value is negative, which actually disturbs the feasibility of our given linear programming problem. And we know a method which will remove the feasibility. Which method is there? Will remove the feasibility? Sorry, infeasibility. Due to this right-hand side negative value, the solution is going to become infeasible, no? because with this constant we have to add in the original problem. If I'm going to add it in the original problem, this will be my m plus 1th constraint. This will be act as a m plus 1th constraint, which will be actually a last row of our simplex table, where the right hand side is negative. Here it is actually looking like left hand side. So for this right constant is negative. That's why this is the value in your basic XB column, which will disturb the feasibility and becomes the solution. The solution becomes infeasible, and we know a method to remove the infeasibility. Which method is there? We have studied, which removes the infeasibility. Yes, students.
Dual simplex.
Yes, dual simplex. Therefore, what the next step we were going to do? We will add the constraint in the last table of the simplex method. Use this constraint as a last constraint and solve it by the dual simplex. Okay. Let me just write equation number 4. The constraint 4 which is a Gomorian constraint. Constraint must be added to optimal simplex table. Optimal simplex table and solved by dual simplex method. Solved by dual simplex method. Okay, let me write the table again and we will check how this could be added in the last table. Okay, this is basic variable CB, XB, X1, X2, dot dot, Xi, dot dot, Xn, Xn plus 1 to Xn. Already we know how we have written X1, X2, Xi to Xn. Corresponding entries CB1, CB2, CBI, CBM. Let it be XB1, XB2, XBI, XBM. Here it is 1, 0. Here it is 0, 1. This is 0, 0, 1 here. 1 here. Here we have written the entry 1 m plus 1, 2 m plus 1, I m plus 1, m plus 1. Here it is 1 m, 2 m, I n, m, m, n. Now we were going to add this as the last two. Okay, let me just add it. What is the variable? Here it is. Suppose we were adding first constraint instead of gi. Let me put it as first added constraint, right? Therefore, what is this equation? Is it g1? Correct? No. Added variable will become the basic variable. No. Therefore, this will be gm. What is the cost? Cost of this basic variable is cost of this added variable is 0. What is the value? Is it minus fbi? Right? No. Here all these values are 0, 0, 0, and it will start actually from m plus 1 to n. What is the coefficient of m plus 1 for I equal to 1? Is it f1 m plus 1? The point okay to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
f1 m plus 1 if I am writing for I equals to 1. Here it is fb1. Okay, and here it is minus f 1 n. Okay, or this can be also written minus fbm plus 1, or it can be written as minus fb n also. Okay, one basic variable is also added. Let me call it as g1. Correct now? one basic variable to be added. And what is the corresponding column now? Here we have added 0, 0, 0. What should be this G1? As this G1 is my last basic variable, what are the entries? 0,
Last
0.
entry is 1.
Yes, good. Last entry is 1. Okay. Therefore, if we look at this XB column is having a negative value, means the solution is infeasible, and we know the method of removing infeasibility, that is dual simplex. Now, assuming this as a modified table, use dual simplex method and get the integer values of the solution. Okay, this is what a construction of Gomorian constraint. If any difficulty you have in the construction of this Gomorian constraint, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will try to understand the algorithm of Gomori's cutting plane method. Like we start from the first point. Okay. In order to obtain the integer value of this ith basic variable, we have written it's a constraint. Okay. We have written the constraint as xbi is equal to xi plus summation xij xj, where xi is equal to xbi minus. We have written this equation number 1. Later, the entries xbi and xij we have separated into two parts, integral part plus fractional part. Okay, knowing our integer and fractional part are the largest integer parts, and the condition imposed on the fractional part, it lies between 0 to 1. Therefore, whenever we have a negative fractional, we have to express it as a negative integer plus positive fraction. Then later, putting both the values in the above equation xbi and xij, we have obtained this equation. Then we have separated integer values and fractional values on the separate sides of the equation. In order to obtain the integer values of xi and xj, we have done this. If xi and xj are taking integer value, this total left hand side will be an integer value. Okay, and which is equal to this right hand side. Therefore, if the left hand side is integer value, what about right hand side? The right hand side must also be an integer value. But this FBI is between 0 to 1, and Fij xj is non-negative. Xj to be the integer value, Fij to be the values lies between 0 to 1. So this total summation is greater or equal by 0. The total summation value is greater or equal by 0. Therefore, if we subtract this summation from FBI, the only possibility remains FBI minus this sum, which is actually a non-negative term, will give you the value less than or equals to FBI. Okay. But we know FBI is less than or strictly less than 1, and we want integer value which is strictly less than 1. We want integer value strictly less than by 1. Therefore, the only possibility remains is less than or equals to 0. Therefore, that integer must be either 0 or a negative integer. Correct, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the equation we have obtained. FBI minus the summation is less than or equals to 0. Okay. This is the less equal constraint. We will convert it to equality by adding a slack variable gi. This gi is called as non-negative Gomorian slack variable. Then we have written the constraint in this format. If we look at this constraint for this right hand side, actually here we have written left hand side, this value is negative, and we know this value is going to be in the xb column if I add this constraint in the last table of a simplex method, which disturbs the feasibility, and to remove the feasibility we are using dual simplex method. And here I have shown you how to add this constraint in the last simplex table. If you still have the difficulty, you can ask. इथे समजणं गरजेचं आहे बघा, हा लेस दॅन ऑर इक्वल्स टू 0 काय आहे. FBI 0 to 1 मध्ये आहे, Fij xj नॉन नेगेटिव्ह आहे. 0 to 1 इथल्या एवढ्या व्हॅल्यू मधून आपण एक नॉन नेगेटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू सबस्ट्रॅक्ट करतो, म्हणजे शुअरली ती टर्म लेस दॅन ऑर इक्वल्स टू FBI येणार आहे. FBI स्ट्रिक्टली लेस दॅन 1 आहे. स्ट्रिक्टली लेस दॅन 1 इंटीजर व्हॅल्यू म्हणजे कुठली पॉसिबिलिटी राहते लेस दॅन ऑर इक्वल्स टू 0. ही इक्वेशन समजलं की बाकी समजते सगळं. समजते का?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will move towards the Gomori's cutting plane algorithm. Algorithm is very easy. First, you have to solve the problem given LPP with the usual simplex method or method whichever is applicable. Observe the solution. If the solution is integer value, no need to do anything. Stop and give me the final solution. If it is not integer value, you have to select. You have to select the row corresponding to non-integer value. For selecting non-integer value, we are going to use the criteria maximum fractional. Once we select the row, construct the Gomorian constraint, add it in the table and solve by dual simplex. Let me write stepwise procedure. Okay. The step 1 procedure says that objective function should be maxima. If the IPP is in minimization form, then convert it to maximization form. Convert it to maximization. Step number 2, convert the inequality constraint into equations. To convert this, which variables to be used? Yes, slack
Slack.
and oblique or. We don't know the nature. No? And obtain optimum solution of LPP by usual simplex method. Number 3 step, we are going to observe the nature of solution. Test the integrality. Test the integrality of the optimum solution. In this, point number 1 is, if the optimum solution is integer value, stop the process. Na? Question is if it is not integer. Correct, na? If not, go to next step. Go to next step. Now in the next step, what we were going to observe? We were going to examine the constraint equation. Examine the constraint equation corresponding to current optimal solution. Current optimal solution. Okay. Let me write this constraint as xbi is equal to, we have written it already, xi plus summation j equals to m plus 1 to m xij xj and I equals to 1 to m. Now what we will do? We will select the largest fraction. Select the largest fraction of xbi's. Means among the values of the basic variable, we will observe the nature of fraction included in every value and we will select the largest one. That is, find maximum FBI, maximum override. Let it be FBK for I equals to K. That is, kth constraint is giving us the maximum fractional value. Okay. Then here we will write express the negative integer if any, or sorry, negative fraction if any. Express the negative fraction if any in kth row. Kth row is we have selected now. That is kth variable we have selected to convert it to an integer value. Kth row of optimum simplex table as the sum of negative integer and non-negative fraction. You have to remember this point, that the fraction whichever we were selecting is always a non-negative or rather a positive fraction. Here let me just give an example. If we have minus 7 upon 2, you should not write this as minus 3 minus half. You should write this as minus 4 plus half. Negative integer plus positive fraction. Now kth row once we have selected, that is kth variable is selected to convert to an integer value. Now at this stage we are ready to construct the Gomorian constraint. At this stage, construct Gomorian constraint. Construct Gomorian constraint. What is the Gomorian constraint we have written? FBI minus summation j equals to m plus 1 to n fij xj is less than or equals to 0. Less than or equals to 0. And or which implies, let me write it in the equation form. How we have written it in the equation form? Minus FBI is equals to summation j equals to m plus 1 to n fij xj plus gn. Okay, construct the Gomorian constraint. Okay, and add it to current set of constraint. Current set of constraint. Okay, next is starting with this new entity you have to solve. Starting with this new set of constraint. Obtain the new optimum solution. New optimum solution by which method? By using dual simplex method. The slack variable gi will be initial living basic variable. Why this is initial living basic variable? If we look at this table I have written, I suppose I want to use the dual simplex. Which one will be my outgoing vector? Here if we look at this xb column, all the entries are non-negative except this last one. So for which variable we are selecting to leave the basis? Having xb negative. Having xb value negative. जो नेगेटिव्ह आहे त्याला बाहेर काढणार ना आपण आधी, आणि एकापेक्षा जास्त नेगेटिव्ह असेल तर आपण काय करतो? मोस्ट नेगेटिव्ह बाहेर काढतो. करेक्ट ना? इथे एकच नेगेटिव्ह आहे, तर मी आउटगोइंग वेक्टर कोण होणार आहे? जीआयच असेल ना, जीवन असेल ना पहिला. What we have written here, gi will be initial living basic variable. Step number 8. Now two possibilities arises. What are the two possibilities? By converting this, suppose we have obtained all integer valued solution, then we have to stop the process. If not, you have to repeat this again. if this new optimum solution for modified LPT is an all integer solution. All integer solution. It is also feasible and optimal for given LPT. This is the first possibility, correct? Actually, here we are going to stop the process. What is the second possibility? Otherwise, return to step 4. What is my step 4? Construction of Gomorian constant, and repeat the entire process. Repeat the entire process until an optimum feasible integer solution is obtained. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Actually, we will understand this algorithm once we solve the examples. Actually, these first 2-3 steps are very easy. First step, converting minima objective function to maxima. Second step, convert inequality constraint to equations and apply usual simplex method. If we have a greater equal type constant, instead of simplex, you have to use either big M, two-phase or dual simplex. Then you have to test the solution. If the solution is all integer 1, then optimum integer BFS is obtained. Here I can say you have to, here the process stop. Correct now? Stop process. And if not, you have to go to next step. Right? In the next step, you should write the constant equation. Suppose there are many variables having the fractional values, then select the largest variable with largest fraction. Let it be for I equals to k. That is, kth variable is having a maximum fractional value. Then select that kth row for converting the non-integer value of a variable to integer one. Any negative fraction in the kth row, we will write it in the negative integer plus positive fraction part. Then construct this constraint, add it in the current set of constraint. Whatever is the new set of constraints we have obtained, solve it by dual simplex. Solve it by dual simplex. Two possibilities may arise. If all the values now are integer, then here you should stop process. If not, what you have to do? You have to return to constructing a Gomorian constant and repeat the entire process till all integer solution is being obtained. Okay, we will see the examples on this Gomori's method in the next lecture. We will stop for today. If you have any difficulties, you can please ask me. From student side, if you have any difficulty, you please ask. Problems we will take in the next lecture. Till now, what I will do, I will give one example to solve by usual simplex method, and to the same example, we will apply the Gomori's cutting plane method, right? So the first example, how to solve by a simplex method. Then I will show you how to convert the solution to integer one. The problem is 7x1 plus 9x2 subject to the constraint minus x1 plus 3x2 less than or equals to 6, 7x1 plus x2 less than or equals to 35, x1, x2 greater equal by 0, and are integers. Okay, therefore what is the homework for today? You should solve this example with usual simplex method and find out the optimal solution, and we will convert it to an integer one in the next lecture. Let me check the problem. 7x1 plus 9x2 minus x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 6. 7x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 10. Okay. Solve this. That is first 3 tables you have to prepare. I will start directly. In the next lecture, I will start directly with the last table of this method and I will show you the Gomory's cutting grade algorithm. We will stop for today. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.